It's a rough life. Living up to Lassie, it's a rough life. Trying to be so classy when I'm going through the garbage for a midday snack. Knowing I'm in trouble when the folks get back. It's a rough life. When fleas live on your belly, it's a rough life. When people call you smelly, I'm developing a complex. I might need a shrink. They blame me every time that something starts to stink. It's a rough life. Begging for a cookie is a rough life. Never getting nookie. They chase me from the kitchen when I start to beg. They think that I'm perverted when I hug their leg.
Hi, welcome to the show. My name is Jesse Goldberg, and my co-host today is Brian Cumming, and my guest is Todd Wilson.
You betcha.
Todd Wilson. You're from Big Brothers, Big Sisters, or Big?
You betcha. Big Brothers, Big Sisters of Middle Tennessee.
But what do you call little and big? How do you?
Well, we're a mentoring agency in that we take kids that are facing adverse situations. They might have a parent that's in prison, or they might have a single family parent situation, and they're looking for a role model. And so we are constantly out in the community trying to find mentors for these kids. And we refer to the bigs as the mentors, and the littles are the kids.
Oh.
So, the organization has been around nationally for over 109 years, and in Middle Tennessee for over 40.
And what do you do there?
I help raise money for the organization through a variety of events. We have events that happen in the spring all the way through the fall called Bowl for Kids' Sake. And we'll pull together groups of teams in a particular industry or with a particular company, and we'll try to get 10 to 20 teams to come out and bowl for a night. And they get their coworkers, family members, and their friends to pledge money to support the team. And I've been to bowling events where we might raise $2,500, and I've been to some where we might raise $30,000 for a single night of bowling. It's an amazing thing.
How do you raise money for bowling?
Well, they get sponsored by their friends, family members, coworkers.
Oh, okay.
Because they're supporting a good cause. And we give wacky prizes for best team name, best team spirit, best costume, best score, worst score. And we try to make it as fun as possible. And basically, they get 2 free games of bowling. We provide them with their shoes at no charge. We get them a pizza. And they just come out and bowl a few games and have a blast doing it. And it raises money for Big Brothers, Big Sisters.
So how does somebody who needs a big brother or big sister, how do they go about getting one?
Well, we interface a lot with various schools in the Middle Tennessee area, and guidance counselors at our schools are great at identifying potential participants in our program. They can say that this kid is really struggling at school, his dad's in jail, or his dad is no longer in the picture because the mom and the dad got divorced. And so they're facing a really challenging situation, and they reach out to our organization because statistics show that if we can get a good role model for that kid, their grades are going to improve, their behavior is going to improve, their attitudes towards adult figures are going to improve.
Don't you have don't you take care of a kid?
I was involved with the Family Foundation Fund, which is a very similar purpose and mission. It connects with kids, and it's a little more specifically about a father figure to be the role model, but it accomplishes a lot of the same purposes. And Big Brothers Big Sisters is a lot more involved. I mean, in terms of numbers, it's about 2,000 kids.
Yeah, we served 2,078 kids in 2012. And 37% of the kids we served last year had one or both parents in the prison system. So,
but you've got a lot of really good results from all of these involvements. You've got statistics about their better grades and better
behavior, better grades,
better attitudes about life, really.
You betcha. And it gives they actually realize their potential. They believe that, hey, I can actually accomplish something.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the neatest stories, we were at a bowling event, and one of the kids came up, and Sarah Beatty, who's my boss, she goes, "So what do you want to be when you grow up?" "I want to be an insurance agent." We were like, "Really? You want to be an insurance agent? Why that field?" He says, "Because my big brother, he's an insurance agent, and he's the first person I've ever met that actually liked their job."
Oh,
Think about that. So, I mean,
I've
so
never liked the job.
but I've been with the organization since May 1st of this year and have had a chance to witness so many great experiences with these kids. Their graduation ceremony, when they age out of the program, when they're either 18 or they graduate from high school, and the official relationship with their big is severed, but it never really is severed because these are bonds that last for years and years and years. And I've been to situations where a big and a little will meet each other for their very first time and watch the chemistry. And the reason
there is no chemistry.
Typically, we have so many people working behind the scenes, interviewing the littles, interviewing the parents, interviewing the bigs. There is so much work done to make sure that this is going to be a good fit that that's rarely an issue. It really is. And not everything's going to work, but the bottom line is there's so much due diligence done ahead of time that...
So do the kids reach out for this, or somebody reaching out for the kids in their benefit?
It's a combination of things. First of all, they can't be involved in the program unless their parent wants them to be part of the program, unless the kid wants to be part of the program, and of course you have to have a willing mentor as well. So everyone has to be a willing participant. We don't have anyone in the program that doesn't want to be there.
So how do you approach a kid, or how do you approach the mentors? How does that work?
Well, we do that through a number of things. An event like this, a program like this, there might be someone out there watching this program right now.
Yeah, we got a 9 share. You know that? A rating 9 share.
Absolutely.
And if 2 more people watch, it goes up to 11.
No, but we have we go out into the community and do what we call lunch and learns. And we'll go to a corporate organization. I was at CMT doing a lunch and learn with one of my staff members about 2 or 3 weeks ago. And those corporations will open up a 45-minute window of time at the lunch break, and we'll bring food in and give a 45-minute presentation about our program, the impact of the program, and what it's involved to be a big, what's involved to be a little. And we identify all kinds of folks doing those lunch and learns. The bowling events attract attention. You end up getting people on a bowling team that until they were asked to be a bowler on that team didn't know much about the agency. And then they go, well, I could do that, because we have all kinds of collateral material at those events. We have PSAs that get run on local radio from time to time.
Well, you know, Brian is a good person for this because he did this. How did that affect the kid that you had, Sanders?
Oh, yes. He did graduate from high school. He got a job, he got a car, and he's really basically entered adulthood, and it was a relatively big accomplishment for him. He had a lot of challenges. I don't know if you've heard of Family Foundation Fund, but it's a lot more focused. You know, there are only about 15 boys in the program.
Wow.
Maybe a couple of
Great
girls
work,
at this
though.
point. It is.
Satisfying.
It's a little more intense, you know, and
Brian was involved
yeah.
with homework.
Yeah. We had,
Is that what big brothers do all the time?
We do. We have 2 different ways that we approach this organization. We have site-based, where a mentor will go into the child's school for 1 hour a week for 9 months of the school year, and we ask them to try to get them to commit to 2 school years. But 1 hour a week at the child's school. Sometimes they'll just sit and eat lunch with them, and they'll talk to them, listen to them. They might help them with their homework. They might go outside and shoot hoops for 20, 30 minutes, just being there as someone to listen to that child, because in many cases, they're not used to having someone actually pay attention.
What are you looking for in mentors?
We're looking for folks that can be a great role model, that bring something to the table, because we have littles that are looking for, the parents will say, well, I want a specific person. I want someone who's college educated. I want them to like music, and I want them to be holding down this kind of job. And they can get very specific and say, I want someone who doesn't smoke, someone who doesn't drink, someone who can be a great listener. So the parents come to us with this list of things that they're looking for in a mentor. And through the interview process with those bigs, we identify a pool of candidates that we can search through to find the right fit for that little.
Well, you said some of these are incarcerated, right? What if both are incarcerated? Who comes to you then?
What we have is it's called the Amachi program, and we will take 1 or 2 members of our staff that will go into a local prison and meet with the incarcerated parent and reach out to them and try to find a way to connect with that parent in such a way that they realize that, hey, my kid really does need a role model. I'm in here, I can't be there to be that role model. And so through the course of these presentations at those prisons, we'll identify parents that say, my sister is watching my son. My husband's out of the picture. The caregiver is my sister. And I would like you to get in touch with my sister and tell her about your program. I want my child to be involved. And then, of course, we'll interview the caregiver, we'll interview the little, and there's got to be consensus amongst everyone involved to participate. But when you look at the fact that we have 20,000 people in prisons in Tennessee, and those 20,000 people have 30,000 kids on the outside.
I remember, I know you said, how little can the little be? You said up to 18, but.
Well, there was a time when we had greater funding than we have now, where we serve kids as young as 6, but currently we serve kids from the time they're 9 till they're 18, and we typically want them to get into the program by the time they're 16 years old. So that's the window of time that we're looking for, because that's those formative years where you want to make a big impact on those kids, because you can actually influence them if you get them early enough.
If a kid starts at age 9, is it likely that they'll stay with that big brother or sister?
Oh yeah, we have
18?
matches that go on for 5, 6, 7 years.
Yeah.
It's been really great. We got a grant 5 years ago, and we did some marketing research, and we got experts to come in and look at our program, and they said, you know, if you want to increase your match length, quit having your parental training be optional. We used to just encourage the parent to go through training.
Oh.
And they said, make it mandatory. And as a result of that grant and that research that was done, we have now increased our match length from 14 and a half months to almost 30 months. It's almost doubled the match length.
By training the parents.
By getting the parent involved. Because you can have a great relationship with the big and the little, but if the parent doesn't see the value or doesn't understand things that are very, very important strategies that we need to adhere to, it's not going to work.
Well, you're kind of partnering with the parents. In
Absolutely.
A way, you know.
Without the parents' complete involvement and support, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
Well, how long does it, I forgot my question.
I'm sorry I interrupted.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, anyway,
How long does
taking
it
care.
take to identify a
No,
match?
how long is the,
The screening process for mentors or something like that?
no,
Or?
you go on to the next one, I'll remember it.
All right. Well, okay, and how much time does a big brother spend with a big sister? It's a couple of hours.
That was the question.
That was
okay, good.
We got off on a
I'm with that.
tangent. The two ways we serve kids are through our site-based program, where the mentor will come out to the kid's school and spend an hour a week with them. And then we have our community-based program, where we'll have usually about a 2 to 3 hour commitment per week. It's usually about 2 hours. And that's a situation where the big will go out to the caregiver's home and pick up the child, take him to a movie, take him to the ball game, take him to a concert, take him to the park, whatever it may be, and basically experience life with that little one and take them out and enjoy some sights and sounds that they would never otherwise get to experience. The nice thing about being a part of this agency, when you say you're with Big Brothers Big Sisters, everyone bends over backwards to help you, and they want to support what we do because they don't want to see us spend money that could be spent serving kids. It costs us $1,000 a year to take care of one match, because every match has a social worker behind the scenes that touch and base with that parent, the little and the big, on a regular basis. Then you've got a liability insurance that has to be paid for. You've got background checks that have to be done.
Liability for what?
You've got a liability coverage to protect you in case there's any potential liability that needs to be dealt with, and we want that to be handled by insurance.
Meaning, if the kid does something for the big brother?
falls
Well,
over.
let's say
hurt.
that you had a big that was taking your little out
In a car
and it had a car accident.
Okay.
And then there's some liability there, and we need to have an insurance policy in place so it doesn't, impact our agency.
Okay.
So,
In addition to the Big Brothers policy.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, so that this,
when you look at that, we served 2,078 kids last year. It cost us over $2 million just to take care of the matches, let alone the staff that works there year-round. So it's a major undertaking, and my goal is to try to find a way to bring in $5 million a year in the next few years, because we've already identified there's at least 5,000 kids out there that need our services, and we're only touching 2,000 of those
I think
kids
it's
right
like,
now.
but it's sort of like a drug addict. They can't get help unless they really know they need the help. Unless they really ask for the help or want the help. So the same thing with the parents and the littles. The parents and the littles, they have to kind of like know they need the help.
Yeah, because I imagine there are some folks out there that don't know that they don't know.
Right.
So.
And then it's just a matter of people learning about Big Brother, Big Sister, and how, all these different ways of communicating in the community. The school counselors sounds like
the
a
guidance
perfect
counselors are
way.
a great resource in terms of making those connections with potential littles.
What kind of age difference do you try to get them closer to their age? You try to get young men, or you try to get old guys?
Whatever the interview process reveals is the ideal mentor. Because you'll have some that say, I'm looking for someone in their 20s who's out of college, or someone who's in their 40s and their kids are gone and they're looking to take on being a parent again. Not really a parent, but just being a role model again, because they're empty nesters. The kids have moved out of the house, they're on their own now. So it really depends what the parent is looking for in that match. We have a high school bigs program where high school kids mentor middle school kids.
They would seem to have more in common.
They do, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, they would seem to be able to maybe reach them a little better.
You're probably right about that. That's the one part of our program that I haven't spent a whole lot of time with, is the high school bigs program. But it's out there and it is making a difference. And it also gives those young high school kids a level of responsibility that they're not used to having.
Yeah,
and,
being a role model.
Being a leader.
Yeah.
So that's powerful.
So Brian, when you were doing that, what did you get out of it? I know it was a different program, but what did you really get out of that as your son? I'm surprised what he got out of it.
It was a lot of cultural enrichment. I learned who LeBron James is.
Well, I probably know it's LeBron James.
No, it's just, the word that keeps coming up for me thinking about all these people is relationship. Every Big Brother it's not just an activity that they're going bowling or to a movie. They're going to sit down and start talking about life, or it's just gradually getting to know each other, and to realize that for the Big Brother that your life is a model that's kind of enriching that little brother's life, and you're opening horizons and describing these are the possibilities. I guess a lot of times,
possibilities that's a great word, because a lot of these kids, until they get a mentor, they don't even think about what's possible out there. They've
had very limited experience, very under advantaged.
Yep.
Very little travel, very little exposure. I mean, they watch television, I'm sure, but that's not quite like going to some beautiful place just a few miles from Nashville or whatever.
You kind of wanted to look up to somebody other than like a rap star or something like that. Somebody real.
Or sports figures.
Or sports figures. Right.
Although we've had sports figures that served as great role models in our program. So, I've got to tell you, the thing that surprised me as a member of the staff when I would interview the bigs was to realize the impact that big experience by being part of the agency. I mean, I've seen them come to tears when they talk about experiences they've had with their little, or when they talk about the fact that, our relationship is formally over now, but we have been through so much together. This guy's a member of my family and always will be. And you don't realize, you always focus on the impact of the kids, but there's that impact on the mentor that is just amazing. And a majority of the mentors are men, but because we have so much more need in that area. But we certainly have big sisters doing a great service in our community, and it seems a bit easier to attract women to that mentor role than it is to men. But that's the thing that really astounded me, was the impact on the role model, the mentor.
Right.
And
so we don't have information. How do you join this thing, or how do you get in touch with you?
Well, they can call 615-329-9191. That's the number. 329-9191.
329-9191. Okay.
329-9191.
All right.
And our website is www.mentorakid.org. And we would love to
So you just
have an
say,
opportunity.
if I was a mentor, I'd call you, say I want to be a mentor, and you'd
We would
interview
set up an
me.
interview process
Right.
and get you involved in
Not
the
that
program.
anybody would look up to me for anything.
Hey, but you know what? I think a young kid would love to spend an afternoon in the studio with you one day and watch you work and go, you know, I could do that one day. So you don't sell yourself short.
Really?
You've got some very special abilities.
I do, don't I?
Yeah.
You
He
know,
loves
Want
dogs.
to see me juggle?
we could talk about how we got together.
How'd you get together?
Music.
Music.
Yes.
What kind
Well,
of
you've
music?
been to my studio. He's been to my studio. And
Oh, would you say?
although there was another connection.
Yeah.
Well, one thing that's worth talking about is the partnership that the Wanna Beatles did with Big Brothers Big Sisters.
Oh, that's right. We do have to talk about that because we're going to show some kind of video right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, how'd that happen?
Well, I approached them back in June to perform at the Franklin Wine Festival, which is our big fundraising event that happens down in Franklin at the factory. And I asked them if they'd be interested in performing, and they said, oh, we'd love to do that. So over the course of time, we had some meetings, and then I recruited them to serve on my music industry task force, which is a group of volunteer people in the music industry that we bounce ideas off of, and we're looking for either donations for our silent auction, or we're looking for artists to play at our events, that sort of thing. And they got to talking about this song that had just recently been written by the band, and it seemed to have a very close message to the mission of our organization, and they seemed willing to modify some of the lyrics to make it an even tighter fit for what we do. And I took their music and created an audio bed for a little music video that involved pictures about 45 different matches from Middle Tennessee. And amongst that, we had some of our branding elements, and we had pictures of the bigs and littles out enjoying life in the community. And we had statistics.
Pictures in the video that we're going to see is all.
Those are matches.
Matches between bigs and littles.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
what's
the
the name
local
of the song?
If We Simply Love.
That's so
Sounds
like 60s.
yeah.
So what? Who wrote the song?
It's well, David Toledo came up with the main idea and the main music, and he played most of it, sang it. But it was a co-write with Dennis Scott of the Wanna Beatles, and then I got really involved when we got with Big Brother Big Sister and helped write some lyrics that were going to fit
So
with that.
it's all the Wanna Beatles.
Well, 3 out of 4
3 out
that
of
are
4,
officially
okay.
credited.
As the
Yeah.
writers, yeah.
Yeah.
The
Right.
performers that are involved,
Oh,
everybody.
yeah.
And the nice thing about it is we had them perform at Jameson Hall at the factory, and we had a big screen set up behind them, and they got and played the song live, and we had the video playing behind them, and it worked very, very well. And we've got it on our YouTube channel, and you can visit that YouTube channel and watch it to your heart's content. We've got DVDs available that we actually made up 100 copies of the DVD and shared them in a swag bag with important VIPs and sponsors and
Volunteers and all that,
in-kind
yeah.
sponsors and volunteers and that sort of thing. And so a lot of the folks now know about the Wanna Beatles through Big Brothers Big Sisters, and likewise, over time, a lot of people are going to know about Big Brothers Big Sisters through the Wanna Beatles, because they're going to be playing this song at their performances from time to time, and we're going to get a shout out about our mission and what we do, and it's going to be a win-win.
I guess the thing to do is watch the video, right?
Yeah. Is it
So
time? Or
Yeah, we'll go out with that.
Okay.
Right,
That's awesome.
So my guest has been Todd Wilson you are from exactly Big Brothers and Big Sisters of Middle Tennessee. It says right
Correct.
here.
That's it.
Right. And this is Brian Cumming of the Wanna Beatles, the famous Wanna Beatles.
We're glad to be working
and
with
we're
Big
about
Brothers
to
Big
hear
Sisters.
the song "If We Could Love."
If we simply love.
If we simply love.
Yeah.
If we
It
simply
makes
love.
people cry.
Thanks for having me today, Jesse.
All right.
Thank you, Todd.
There's a song inside my head. I take to heart all that it said. Words so true and spirit so free. To imagine what could be. A world where where no one turns away, or fears to face another day. And when you give more than you take, someday you'll see the difference it makes. If we simply love, if we simply choose to love, just imagine how it will be for you and for me. The moment we start to live from the heart, oh yeah, then this world will be enough. If we simply love. Yeah, I'm not the first to join in this dance, but I wanna be the last to ever say, give kids a chance, and tell me how can I close my eyes to all that I see, when we're all so very close to what we could be. If we simply love, if we simply choose to love, just imagine how it will be for you and for me. The moment we start to live from the heart, oh yeah, then this world will be enough. If we simply, for all the people who still cry, for all the broken asking why, it's still the only way. Ooh, the moment we start to live from the heart, oh yeah, then this world will be enough. If we simply love, love, yeah. If we simply
It's a rough life living up to Lassie. It's a rough life trying to be so classy when I'm going through the garbage for a midday snack, knowing I'm in trouble when the folks get back. It's a rough life when fleas live on your belly. It's a rough life when people call you smelly. I'm developing a complex, I might need a shrink. They blame me every time that something starts to stink. It's a rough life. Begging for a cookie is a rough life. Never getting nookie. They chase me from the kitchen when I start to beg. They think that I'm perverted when I hug their leg.